You got 1 quarter left, 3 months.
Yep.
What actions do I need to either, reach my goal, or what do I need to do to 25 if I already met my goal, right? What's my goal for 25?
Right, exactly.
Right. And a lot of times real estate professionals just don't take the time to do the research on their current numbers and activities to really put a good business plan for the following year.
Yeah, where are you against yourself, and then where are you against the market at the time, and what does that look like?
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Welcome to another episode of Your Peak Life podcast. Today we have a special guest, Tim Lewis, and we'll be discussing fourth quarter and preparation to the fourth quarter. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, man.
Finally,
you made it. Your
I
Peak
made
Life,
it.
man.
Yeah.
No, so I really just wanted to discuss Sunday is September 1st. Everybody usually talks about the fourth quarter like being October 1st. But for us, that isn't true. We're in sales. Everything we do is 30 to 45 days ahead. So what are you going to do starting September 1st to make sure that the fourth quarter is a good one? Mm-hmm. What does it take? Like, people take time off for holidays and travel and, the kids are back in school. Like, to me, that feels like I'm going to have more time to do what I need to do.
Right.
What about you guys?
To me, I like the fourth quarter because of that reason. So many people take time off, and it gives me the opportunity to really jumpstart, 2025 and end 2024 on a strong point.
Yeah.
Real estate isn't something that you stop and pick back up.
Right.
It's just people have this misconception that, hey, I'm going to start business. I'm going to stop selling in November, and I'll start in January, and things are going to be fine. And that's not true at all.
Steve Marable, you're a unicorn.
Correct. Now, there are some agents that do it purposely, right, that don't work. But I guarantee you, Steve's still connecting with clients, still sending holiday cards.
And his business plan's built around that,
I would
right?
just say naturally everybody's kind of slowing down. So that's your time to actually get things. You can push the pace a little bit. Yeah. Everybody's, the holidays, there's plenty. What you will encounter, though, is dealing with certain stakeholders and vendors is that they're also off, right? So my inspection guy's off, and I having a second and third layer of people that you can kind of go to at this time.
That's a great
because
point.
naturally, you might want to push the pace, but you're not doing this all by yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So the people that you're interacting with realize that they are also slowing down. What do you need to do so your business does not slow down during that time?
Absolutely. That's a great point.
Fantastic.
And truly, most agents don't have secondary or third options for most things, right? And I think that's not a good business plan. You always need at least two of everything.
Those contingency plans, literally like in the military. What happens when it all goes upside down? I've spent a little time in insurance, and that everything's treated catastrophic. You know what I mean? So you kind of move as such, and with that, it kind of gives you, the ability to kind of, prep a little bit and strategize for the future and what ifs, and go through those scenarios. But having those second and third layers, those, additional people that you can kind of tap into during this time.
I know, like, somebody asked me for an electrician. I sent them 6. They were like, you need options, man. Somebody's not going to answer. Somebody's not going to show up. Somebody's going to be too expensive. Somebody's
could you rank them, please? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I could tell you for myself, like, December's off, but my business doesn't pick back up until February.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. And then most of my business that comes in, or the money that comes in monetarily, is referrals. I'm referring my business out to agents.
Right.
Which is not going to be the case anymore. You guys know there's no team anymore, so it's just really me now.
Yeah.
And I got to stay at home.
I'll take one.
I personally always close out the year strongest. Like, December is my thing. It's my birth month, Sagittarius vibes. Like, but it's also crunch time where it's like, how far off am I from my goals? I have to go
Yeah.
this, like we came here this morning after being gone for a few days, and I looked in MLS. I'm like, damn, I got 6 pending deals. That's a product of me being back in the street versus writing a book or traveling or whatever. So, but now I'm looking like, well, fourth quarter, I have this goal. I know I can beat that goal now that I made. So how hard do I have to go in September for October, November, and December to be what I want them to be? And I've actually been saying, if you go back on my social and just like search September in sales, I've always had that wordplay that September and sales go hand in hand. If you want a victorious like fourth quarter ending to the year.
And I agree totally.
Yeah, 100%.
What would you encourage people to start doing September 1st?
I mean, if you're not doing it right now, add 10, 15, 20 people to your database every day. Call every client you've ever had and just say anything, man. Hey, fall's coming. Come join us for a Halloween party or a hayride, or meet me up in Williamsburg and let's do Fall Fest at Busch Gardens or something. You know, like anything. What I always tell people, anything that's not a sale.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be sold. They want to be invited, man.
Yeah, there's
like,
plenty of events that are going on. Plus, this is the
Everywhere.
time where more
Absolutely.
people are spending time on social media because they have the downtime, right?
Yep.
They're away from work,
Your
right?
your
So they're
marketing's gotta
more
get pumped up.
involved, right? So now you can kind of, and you can tie things and piggyback onto the holidays. Again, the engagement rates are up, you know, the reach, you can really get your social media push there,
invite
at
them
that
to the
time.
holiday party, the
Also-
annual award ceremony.
Exactly. And also fourth quarter give you that time for like housekeeping too, right? Like business housekeeping, getting things set up, again, hey, I didn't hit my marks here, and here. This is what I need to do. I mean, if you get to it in September, then you're a little bit ahead. But, getting set up for 2025, like, Edwin was saying, making sure you're not carrying over those bad business practices. What are your business resolutions, right? What are you going to do better in 2025 in terms of a business?
Well, if we're going to talk about business, let's kind of introduce yourself and speak to your educational background.
Okay. So I'm a 8-year Navy vet, joined up out of Detroit. I met Mike back in 2007 on the Truman.
Our age, bro. Damn.
Yeah. So I got out in 2014, and I had a difficult time with employment. Most of my, naval aviation experience did not translate. They wanted me because I was I level and not O level.
And what was your job description or rate?
Aviation electricians, mate.
Okay.
So an AE, right? So I was working on all the aircraft for 8 years. Get out. Can't get a job at the, local JFK. I was in New York at the time. They want me to go to school for 2 additional years to get my, airframe, to qualify to take my airframe and power plant license, blah, blah, blah. And here I am. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean?
I've been fixing jets for 8 years.
Yeah, so I'm in Embry-Riddle. I'm going to school to get my aeronautics, major, and that's like, again, I leaned into education because the employment side of things was not set. I didn't have things set up the way I needed to. Right. I relied on, hey, I thought things were going to be better for me. Thought things were going to be set up a little differently
because of the services.
Right. So I thought I was going to, not struggle as much as I did. Right. So I leaned into the education of it all. I got my 4-year, bachelor's, double minored in management and project management. And then, had started a family. And then from there, I was like, that's not enough, So I went and I got my master's. I went in Manhattan, got my executive MBA during, the pandemic. It was,
How
wild.
much of that was paid for or funded from your service?
Right. So I picked this institution because it was a public, City University of New York, where I was going into it like I've always been told 100% of public institution because I was having issues with getting capped at certain, tuition rates for the year for private. So I picked, Baruch College, Zicklin School of Business in Manhattan. Very, very great, institution. They were going to cover. This program was set up where there was some out of, some costs I would have to be on the hook for, but they would take 80 to 85% of my tuition. Nice. So it was $100,000 tab. I came out,
and this is for your third. That's for the executive MBA.
For the executive MBA. Yeah. So
wow.
Again, that I got going in that, me and a couple buddies started, a business while we were in school, during the pandemic. So it was all these wild scenarios where, again, I knew, certifications, licenses, degrees, those are those things where you can't fall below a certain, rung in the ladder, essentially. And again, getting out of the military and realizing that, hey, I just spent 8 years just getting experience. I didn't get any of my like electrician ratings, like journeyman, or, like nothing that like really right. Do you want some NKO, course, certificates or something like that? I can produce that.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't have anything like that. I thought my DD 214 was going to get me more. And it didn't. Yeah. So I realized, hey, I got to do it myself.
Well,
right?
I just wanted to put it out there because if you're going to tell people about business, I have successful businesses, but I don't have an executive MBA from a school of business in New York. So it's just important that the people hear like, oh, that individual is qualified to say what they're saying, not to mention standing up a business before you even move down here that's already profitable and has revenue share.
That's the first thing. When I got in the program, there was 34 people in the course. These are all, Wall Street finance guys, and girls.
Timmy from Detroit.
I'm the guy from Detroit that
ex-sailor.
Like, how did I get here type of moment. But I've had that in my life, when I first landed on an aircraft carrier and I was like, oh my God, how'd I get here? You know what I mean? So, I'm used to that, but I'm a chameleon. I can kind of work with it. And I have enough background, in Detroit that, I realized that, certain sides of, being growing up rough in the streets, kind of, they just call it entrepreneurship and business. And you know what I mean? And there's a lot of like mechanisms and systems and that are the same. Right. But when I got into that program, I was like, all right, who's ready to start a startup? You know what I mean? Like right away, and it was like kind of like crickets. It wasn't, these people were just like, I'm just trying to get the next corporate title. That's why I'm here.
Can you relate? I couldn't imagine the coursework to complete something like that. Is there, could you relate a portion of that course to like fourth quarter crunch time? Like, did you have to do, what do they call it? I don't even know. Like
midterms
and then like the end where people do
finals, like
test out or whatever.
It's like a dissertation that they give kind of thing. Like what was the hardest part of your journey in that course that felt like, okay, I have to really push to get to the end here?
Honestly, the curveball was COVID. You know what I mean? It wasn't course related. It was
everything switched up.
How is my education, switching, right? The professors were not, they've been working out of certain books, a certain type of way for so long.
And now everybody got to go virtual.
Now they have to orchestrate, breakout rooms and Zooms and things of that nature, right? So what I saw there was like, just like a business, just like the contingency plans that we were just talking about, you got to be ready for whatever that comes out. Hopefully nothing as extreme, right? But that's how you got to act. And again, just like we were talking about, have that additional stakeholder that I can reach out to, have those, those systems set up that when certain things lull and during the holiday season, you don't feel that pain, right? Have your financial, like your business accounting set up, for the end of the year. Yeah. It's all, a cycle. So you can kind of look back and you need to be doing those, analysis of previous years. So just having a contingency plan, you know, being ready for whatever. You know, start, you know, again, take that time to get into your business and really clean things up. Like I said, housekeeping
Little
wise,
microscope work.
yeah, you know, get in it and really, you know, hold yourself accountable of like, look yourself in the mirror, like here's where I am and here's where I want to go. And what's it going to take to get to that, you know?
I 100% agree with that. And also, as we're approaching, right, this fourth quarter in our world, September 1st, your business plan for 25, right?
Absolutely.
That is what, you know, is that review, right? You're reviewing your 24 business plan, finding out where you're at. You got 1 quarter left, 3 months.
Yep.
What actions do I need to either, you know, reach my goal, or what do I need to do to 25 if I already met my goal, right? What's my goal for 25?
Right. Exactly.
Right? What are the activities needed to reach my goals? And a lot of times, real estate professionals just don't take the time to do the research on their current numbers and activities to really put a good business plan for the following year.
Yeah, where are you against yourself, and then where are you against the market at the time, you know, and what does that look like?
Well, you just attended. We started the Pinnacle Luxury Group, the team. You just attended the class with me, and a lot of people were just hanging out, whereas like I'm over here feverishly scribbling notes in a notepad.
Right.
Not necessarily what the instructor was saying, but how we could apply it to our business.
Right.
So we come out with all these notes, and it's like that day I say, what's your goal? What do you and Jackie want to accomplish before 2024 is over?
Yeah.
Because in our business, we have to know now. Just like I said, that's why I stood the team up the way I did. He's getting his license right now. He's been licensed before in New York, by
Yeah.
the way, at a company that merged into the #1 brand there. Like that's a pretty good place to start your career.
Yeah.
And then you and her bring all that knowledge down here. But we set a target, like when are we getting the first sale?
Yeah.
When are we getting the first listing?
Right.
When are we sending out this discount code to these neighborhoods?
Yeah,
Like,
put some strategy into it. You know, put some deep thinking. You know, who's the partners? You know, that you're dealing with. You know, have those meetings, have those conversations. Don't just sit by and let business happen to you.
Business by accident, we call it.
Business by accident. I mean, real estate, you know, as a vertical or all business, you know, don't let it happen by chance. There's, again, you can follow the footprints of people that are successful, and you can kind of
Yes.
kind of see what you need to do and adapt it to your style, right? But a lot of, again, just like Edwin said, you have to do that self-reflection first. You got to look at your business plan versus last year and year over year, you know, and you got to get into those. What does year over year mean? And what does that look like? What are my objectives? How am I falling short? What do I need to implement? Do I have time to do something that will, like, minimum effort, maximum results in this last fourth quarter? What's going to carry over into Q1? You know, really start, you know, vision boarding, like mapping
well, the
out.
preparation is key.
Yeah.
Right? You just came from a rain class, doesn't even have an active license yet, which is why I set it up that way with him and Jackie as unlicensed assistants out the gate. Because before his license is even active, he's going to learn the MLS. Before the license is even active, he's going to learn a contract,
Yeah.
a PICRA, transaction
I mean,
coordinator type.
yeah, feed me
information.
the
You know what I mean?
knowledge.
So,
Yeah.
so it's like, but people don't think like that. And it's like, I told him and his wife, well, we have to think like that because it's going to take 6 months to get a check.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to prepare. Preparation really
Yep.
is the key. But also that rolls into, we have peak performance coming up in October for people to lock in for the fourth quarter as well,
Yep.
which I need to get you those dates.
Yep.
So
I'll do
like
that.
he'll be freshly licensed, but have already been to the rain class, already scheduled for the realtor class, already been through a luxury home certification class. Like that's the preparation it takes to be successful. And people aren't forecasting that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and that I was which a point that I wanted to make. If you aren't hitting your goals, or if you're struggling to find out why you didn't, a good place to start is looking at who you're spending your time with. Who is your circle? What are their activities? Are the people around you achieving their goals? Right? Because if you're not achieving your goals and the people around you aren't achieving their goals, then you may need to look for other people to be around, right?
Absolutely.
And, you know, in this life, and I'm specifically speaking of real estate, in order to do it at a high level, it has to become part of your life. So the people you're around have to add to that life, right? So just in my perspective or just, you know, in my life, I'm not really around real estate agents that aren't doing a lot of business. Just not.
Right.
They're just not around me.
We don't have the same things in common.
Yeah,
you know what I
we
mean?
don't have the same things in common. If I'm not, you know, I know that
We're not aligned, essentially.
Yeah, you're not aligned. I know that if I start slacking in an area, in any area of one of my responsibilities, I know the people around me will nudge me, will hold me accountable, will, you know, have a conversation with me. And that's what keeps me, you know, in line a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because the human factor is always going to be, you know, in play. We never know what's going to happen. You could go to work, get a flat tire. You could have a family member die, right?
Every now, yeah.
So that was this morning, right?
Yeah, right. Like you could have family members, something happen to one of your family members, or you know you're experiencing some health issues, whatever the case may be, right? The people who you spend your time with, the people that you spend your time with, is either going to help that situation or it's going to enhance that bad situation. So, part of that business planning is just taking a look at, hey, who did I spend my time with last year?
Yeah.
Right? Who am I around every day?
Yeah, equate your time and energy to you know, essentially value
like not the money.
What you care about. How am I spending my time? And again, being around, you know, be around people that are good in areas that you're not. I think that's also key, right? You don't want to be, you know, hey, I'm good at, you know, whatever this is, and then I got 4 carbon copies of that, and then now we're competing to a point where it's you know, it's not going to end well just because of the nature of competition, right? So I would say also getting into rooms where my weaknesses, you know, are your strengths, you know, and because you're going to be doing something that I should be doing, and it's going to, you know, put a magnifying glass on what you're not doing, right? So again, that accountability of it all, that exposure of it, that, you know, self-reflection of it all. You know what I mean? You are in this industry, you're the CEO, right? You're the CMO, you're the, you know, chief strategist,
CFO,
you're all of it, right?
And
you know what I mean?
And the janitor.
And
all
the
of it. So
And the salesperson.
exactly. So, you know, you gotta move as such.
And we were just talking about the diversity of our leadership team, like how different we all are.
Yeah.
You know, Eric moves his way, I move my way. They both have their own style. Edwin and Edgar, like,
and the agents benefit from that.
Absolutely.
You know, that diversification at the top, that flows through the company. You know, again, you know, you see it, you know, all the time, you know, in instances where that is not the case. You know, here what you see right away is the training and the culture. You know, those are the things that stick out right away.
From somebody who just attended a training out of the blue.
Yeah. Hey, you know, there's
third party.
There's no shortage of it, you know, the training. And like I said, I've been in, you know, another brokerage, and, you know, it was in a cutthroat, you know,
Real Wolf of Wall
yeah,
Street shit.
cutthroat market in Brooklyn. And here
That's
I
different.
am, some guy with a Detroit D tatted on his elbow, you know, trying to sell New York City real estate with no friends or family, you know, that I can tap into right away, because those are your first, you know,
no
sets of deals.
coworkers, no nothing.
You know what I mean? And it's a whole different market where, like, I'm looking at you like competition. You're going to steal a deal off my table. You know what I mean? Because there's more at play. These are multi-million-dollar, you know, $10, $15 million townhomes. What? Are you kidding me? You know,
crazy.
fully attached, you know, brownstones that are just ridiculous prices, right? So, you know, again, what, you know,
Do you see more opportunity here?
of course.
Yeah.
The training, like I said, the training,
Well, I mean, just the
knowledge.
just geographically, like
The mark.
for say your niche of clientele, do you think that this area suits you better versus being there?
Oh, definitely. You're not going to get as lost in the sauce, right? And down here, it's about relationships, right? It's about, how you treat the other person, right? It's not so much about the deal and I don't care how it gets done type of thing.
Different mentality.
Yeah, different
Okay.
mentality, different
Okay.
mentality. You get that.
You're not in shark infested waters,
Right,
as
right.
much as you would feel so in New
Exactly,
York.
exactly. And so then there's this, upper layer of this market here, in this luxury
It's
market
like kind
that's
of untapped
enticing
around here.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Mike and Edgar and Tim, but all of you guys. What piece of advice would you give someone who is, not reaching their goals and trying to like catch up on their goals for the fourth quarter and maybe jumpstart 25?
I mean, I'll go first. I think the first thing is you need to go back over the goals if you even have them. A lot of people don't, and you should. And just like, were they realistic? Were they realistic? Were they attainable? Were they time bound? Right? Because we train to this. And it's like people have goals, but they don't know the action items to get to the goal. But if you set a goal that's not within reach, I don't know. We'll give an example. If you're a single parent and you have 3 kids and 2 jobs, you're probably not going to sell 100 houses this year. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
just certain things like that where it's like, well, you kind of made a goal that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like the people that I know that do 100 deals a year, that is all they do. Or they don't have kids, or they don't have a significant other with a full-time job, or whatever it is, there's always a factor. Or the significant other is working with them, right? Like, and people just don't understand how things work. And I think they see the shiny object and they make that goal, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You have no actual idea what it's going to take to do that. So you have to go back, reassess. Like for Edgar, we know that Edgar's family and his children are a priority. So any day of the week, he's going to let his sales suffer to spend time with his family. And that's okay because that's his goal, right? But if his goal was to sell more houses, he might have to sit down and have that conversation. Hey, Cookie, hey, kids, I need to lock in so we can get the money up, right? Like it. So it's really just a realignment of what's your priority. Is the money the priority? It shouldn't be, unless, of course, you're in financial need or dire straits and you're trying to really handle something. But your happiness should ultimately be paramount. And if your goal has nothing to do with your happiness and everything to do with money, you need to change your thought process.
Yeah.
What you got, Edgar?
I mean, for me, it's exactly that. It's like the time bound. What's the realistic goal? Reverse engineer it. For me, for example, it's 0 out the homes, fully paid off. I want my debt to be a new home every other year.
Nice.
So that's until I'm 50. Cool. So it has to happen. But with that comes sales.
Mm-hmm.
But in our market, 5 sales a month, that's a pretty penny for me because my debt's so low.
And it's doable.
Very doable, so every month just goes into a new home with the other income we're earning. So it's a realistic goal once I sat down with my wife, like, hey, this is the timeline. So it's something that I could achieve realistically with the units and my family's not going to suffer. And especially now that we're starting to schedule things out like a year prior. We know those
I
commitments.
was going to say
also.
that about the business planning. Like we literally,
That helps a
we
lot.
have next year already like lined up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the business planning, there's the personal planning, the business planning. The business planning, I could project now.
Yep.
Whereas like last year was a little crazy because it's like, hey, let's open up 3 new franchises and a 4th one or whatever, right?
And stand up a training program and everybody go diamond and
So, and if you know me, then I will, not only for family, but I will give up my personal time for the goals and the people around me.
Yeah.
I'm just that guy. Organically, it just is who
you don't
I
even
am.
have to tell Edgar why. He'll just do it.
Yeah, and it's just like I think it was this year I was listening to Fabulous, and he had one that's like Selfish was the name of the album or song. And I was like, yeah, I got to get selfish because, yeah, my personal life does get to suffer because I'm focused on everything else around me. And the way I work is I'm not a Mike Little.
Right.
Right. And also, you got to be cognizant of that. You can look up to these people, but you're not going to be them.
Yeah, you got to know
got to
who
be
you
cognizant
are.
of who you truly are.
Yeah.
Really look at yourself in the mirror.
Yep.
You know, I'm the support system.
And we're in different situations, right? You have your kids full time. Like if I'm on a week where I don't have my kids, I can do things that you're not gonna be able to do. Right?
Oh, we know because there's more text messages at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's,
So,
it's the off week.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, but that's a
That's
real.
the cadence,
But
yeah.
that's a real thing. Is you got to be cognizant of, or just really look at yourself and say, this is who you really are. And those bad habits that you have, like my little weight loss journey, right? Hey, man, get to it. And really, we were talking about this before this. It's like, how long is it going to take you to really, you see people doing a 75 hard. And I had a friend who was just doing it not too long ago. And then you see it, okay, day 5, 75 hard. And then like a week later, okay, day 3, because they keep starting over. When do you build those habits?
Yeah.
And
days.
really make it your daily routine to set that schedule.
Yeah, where it becomes
AM,
behavior.
update my leads. Schedule the showings, which are happening right now on my phone. They're being scheduled.
Yep.
And holding those people accountable to me that are helping me with the business.
Right.
Because now I know what my goals are. I
Yeah.
need to get $400,000 within these next 2 years to pay off 2 homes.
Yep.
lock in.
Lock in. What's it going to take?
Yep. Yeah, I like that. How realistic is it? What's the root cause of it?
Yeah, but that's the reality we live in, where it's like, can I spend $250 on a house in a year? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great feeling.
Let's do it.
And create more wealth.
But
Yep, there you go.
your piece is really like you're identifying the action necessary to get there. And they say, what do they say? Goals without action are just dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
There needs to be a timeline on it. There needs to be a hard, a deadline, an accountability measure.
Yeah. You've been working with your wife.
Yeah.
But now you guys are going to work together kind of in the same industry. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see that aspect. Because
Yeah,
with my wife, nothing wrong with my wife. I love you, but it's just,
So-
not that we were fighting or anything, but it wasn't working.
Yeah. We do complement each other very well. We work a lot, because we had flexible schedules, and so we would and we both had to jump into she was in marketing and I got thrust into like a marketing role.
Okay.
So we kind of like tag teamed and really kind of leaned on one another to kind of. Again, she was better at certain things, and I was better
Like
at
building
certain
a website,
things,
for
right? You know what I mean?
instance.
So
She's a beast, man.
we were utilizing each other. So, but now it's more out of the house working together, which we're getting insights into. Just the other day in the luxury class, I'm just sitting beside her, and she's a student like I'm a student, right? And so that was kind of cool, to be, next to her,
Just
like
in that
in that
Yeah.
element, you know what I mean? Because we get caught up in the rigmarole of the daily grind, having 4 kids and transitioning
and that's where our relationship works better with my wife, where it's like, I need paperwork done, assigned, and sent out. It was like, boom, done.
yeah.
She never left the house. Whereas we were traveling all day yesterday.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I think for me, which I agree, you guys hit it on the nail on the coffin, is like, review your stuff, right? But to add to that, the fastest way to kind of pick up the slack is to double down on the shit that you're good at. Right? If
Yeah.
you're good at one particular thing,
Hit the gas,
hit the 100 miles per hour
Yeah.
until the end of the year,
Yeah.
right? Or until December 1st, which is our real estate year, right?
Yeah, what's working now? What's working now?
What did you? I understand you wanted to do.
Just give it a little more, and then we'll get to what we need to, coming
We'll
around the corner.
readjust, right?
Yeah.
Double down on that, because it's gonna be easier for you to double down on things that you enjoy doing. And usually, when you're good at something, you enjoy doing
Yep,
that.
yep, exactly.
So I would say that, whether it's open houses, whether it's door knocking, whether it's cold calling, whether it's whatever it is, right? Double down on that and get on track and understand that when you're building your business plan, doubling down on one item is probably the best, course of action, and removing something that you just wasn't good at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? If you sucked at something,
Yeah.
why would it be in 2025's business plan?
Yeah. I'll have to source
do
that
it.
out, right?
Just
I'll
because
have to
someone-
delegate
yeah.
that out to somebody.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, and you know this, well, we all know this, right? What did we do every time we did a midterm in the military?
There's
Strengths,
Yeah,
weaknesses,
yeah.
areas of improvement, right?
Yeah, right.
So a lot of people look at it like they focus on the weakness or the area of improvement,
Mm-hmm.
whereas we've flipped it, probably larger part to do, I would say the Glover U influence, the double down idea stems
Yeah.
from that relationship, and it's like, because it's so right.
If you're having consistency with a certain strength,
Just go hard
yeah,
in that,
again,
right? Like
again.
if you're a shooter, you shoot, right?
Yeah.
If you get assists, you pass.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there you go, Shaq wasn't shooting very many threes, that didn't happen a lot, so he knew what he was good at. And again, that's another thing, identifying what it is a real estate role, is A through Z. Okay, what am I doing and what am I good at, and really maximizing, like you said, maximizing where you're good at, doubling down on it, going all in. You know what I mean?
And
Ooh, a little Justin Ford shout out. Is that what
Yeah,
just happened?
yeah.
I like it, man. Do we have anything else on the fourth quarter? I mean, I feel like that's
well, one thing I'll just want to say, in the fourth quarter, people use holidays as an excuse all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about 4 days: New Year's, Christmas,
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, and I'm counting Halloween as one.
Oh, appreciate that.
Right?
My birthday.
Thank you.
Right? So we're talking about 4 days out of 90.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse. 4 days.
Well, also,
There's a few
it's
other
all
ones.
being done here.
Yeah, right.
No,
Yeah,
like-
absolutely.
Well, you know what? That's another good piece of advice, though, since we're tying it all to real estate. If you are a top performing real estate professional, the plans that you are making right now should be built around those days. You go to write a contract, don't write it to close on Christmas. It's not going to happen,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and
This
anyway,
weekend, the banks are closed Monday. So is your title company. I hope your contract doesn't say Monday, September 2nd, right? Like, agents all the time don't pay attention to this stuff. And it's like, if you just look at a calendar when you're writing an offer or when you're having your consultation with your client, you can work around all this stuff, but you have to think about it. You have to prepare. You have to do the business plan. You have to know
Yeah.
what the goals are,
Yeah.
right? And it's your planning that's going to determine the execution. And like, I get it that not everything closes on time,
Yep.
but you can do your part to mitigate issues.
And if you're going on vacation, like, don't plan shit around your vacation. Like, I don't understand.
And
that.
if you do, put somebody in place to do your job. Like,
Exactly.
I mean,
Like we do
set
when we
set a
do
pace in the fourth quarter that you know there's going to be an overtime. You know what I mean? What happens
There we
if
go.
it just doesn't end and it goes to a whole new game and it's Q1, right? What if there's an overtime? What if there's a double overtime, right? So what are you doing to really kind of get ahead? And don't wait until Q4 to have that self-reflection moment with yourself where it's, I looked at it in Q1 and then I just found out where I was in Q4. I mean, be checking this, all the time. You need to have your finger on the pulse of your business. You need to know when it goes up and down, when things are not working, when things are not. It's much easier to make those adjustments in Q2, Q3, and build upon them and deviate and pivot, adjust, adapt to what it is, again, it's a lot easier to do those things if you're kind of refreshing it. Don't let it be like, a physical fitness test in the military where it's like once or twice a year type of thing. You know what I mean? It does.
We all know
it
about
does
that.
truly help if you stay in shape.
Yeah, if you
I
work out
guarantee
all
it.
year.
Just
Yeah,
showing up,
it's just part of
at
your
that
lifestyle.
moment
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just doing it. That's not what you should be doing because you're going to be harder on yourself. you're going to have a crappy Q1 of next year because your Q4, the realization of everything that happened in Q4 was just crippling, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of like money issues and things that come with this whole, you know, seasonal, you know, holidays and stuff like that. Anyways, you want your business to be that shining moment, right? That thing that really just excites you and, you know, ignites, you know, that passion inside of you, where you're not like, oh man, damn, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I got to be CEO again, you know?
And ultimately, your goals are meant to be adjusted.
Exactly.
Right. So another important point that I want to make is that, you know, we're going into the season where mental health is at an all-time high. Mental health problems, right? The holidays. You not hitting your $10 million goal and you hit 9 million is not gonna like change anything, right?
Yeah.
In the big scheme of things.
Get it back on the next year. You know what I mean? You know, that's just, again,
hard. Go hard. Absolutely. I'm all for hard work. But it shouldn't be devastating, is what I'm saying.
Around the number.
Correct.
It's like stepping on the scale, you know, and getting tied up into the number versus how am I feeling? You know what I mean? Am I feeling stronger, you know, while working out? You know what I mean? Things of that nature instead of the measurements.
Which is weird. I checked this morning. I didn't gain a pound from that trip.
I gained 7.
Oh, man.
Fat ass. I didn't even jump on the scale. I just go into the
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was...
I mean, I had a ton of steaks and shit like that.
But
Can't complain.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's just like the year is not over. To your point, like you're talking about 4 or 5 days out of
we could literally still close
120,
deals.
You know what I
We
mean?
can still
Like,
hit deals and close them in September.
And you got to realize this is a game of momentum as well, too, right? So don't slow down in the fourth and then expect to come out the gate, you know, again in
first,
Q1, like
absolutely.
ready to go. No, why don't the momentum from Q4 slingshot you into Q1 and Q2?
Absolutely.
Or you go, you know, not go so hard. Again, we don't have to go so hard, but again, how are you spending your time? There's a
point
difference
is
between like busy and productive type of thing.
But the
What are you
point
doing
is
to
the slingshot's
maximize it?
getting pulled now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. So
This starts now.
Great
So,
combo, fellas.
Slingshot into the fourth quarter starting September 1st.
yep.
That's the recommendation that we have.
Yep.
If you're in, and it doesn't have to just be real estate. This applies to anybody in sales. You need to be 30 days ahead of all of your friends
Yep.
because their circumstances aren't the same as yours. So,
Correct.
Definitely.
All right, awesome. Thank you for tuning in for another great episode of Your Peak Life podcast. Please make sure follow us, subscribe in the link below, and we'll look forward to another episode next week.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you.